And welcome to another edition of The Edward, featuring me, your host Eddie. And in today's video, I will be doing my Jurassic World film review and reaction. Okay, before I begin and I start gushing into all to the juicy details of the film and how awesome it was, I am going to issue this statement, but first. This review is full of massive, major spoilers. Key to the plot of the movie. If you have not seen Jurassic World yet, A, what the hell is wrong with you? B, get out there and see it. And C, don't watch or listen to this video as I will be discussing the film in its entirety and all of the massive, massive, massive spoilers that are about to follow. Okay, YouTube, consider yourself warned. This video is full of massive spoilers. And if you are watching it, I hope you love Jurassic World as much as I did because, oh my God, that was so good. It was so much fun. I loved every second of it. It was a worthwhile sequel. A well-deserved, high-ranking sequel. It's just so immensely satisfying on so many levels. I saw all of the things I was hoping I was going to see, and it was just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Oh my God, I just loved it so much, you guys. I mean, as you know, or you may not know, I may not have discussed this in some of my earlier videos, but I am a massive Jurassic Park fan. I loved Jurassic Park. It's my all-time #1 favorite movie. And right up there with it is my other all-time favorite movie, Shaun of the Dead. And oh my God, Jurassic Park is incredible. And Jurassic World was outstanding. Completely and utterly incredible. Just totally wowza. You know, as Christopher Walken's character from Saturday Night Live, The Continental, would say, wow. Wowie, wow, wow, wow. Boy. I'm just still so pumped and excited about after I watched it. I'm just filled with so much energy and enthusiasm right now. It's driving me crazy because of how pumped and excited I am about this movie. It was astounding. Oh, I loved it so much. Okay. So, getting past the part where I keep talking about how much I loved it, which I did, I hope you guys all enjoyed it too. I hope you found it as immensely satisfying and enjoyable as I did. I loved every second of it, everything. Oh, so fun. It was just so much fun and so worth the wait and so worth all the hype. And it did not disappoint on any levels for me. Well, that's not entirely true. The one tiny little thing that did bother me was the lack of the original score from the first movie. In the beginning of the film, as the two boys, Zach and Gray, are on the monorail heading into the main center of the park, where the visitor center is, and like the main HQ for the whole park, as they're heading in there on the monorail, you know, that's when they're doing the classic which is one of the greatest film scores of all time, and I challenge anybody else who can come up with a better film score than that. Okay, maybe Star Wars, but point being, no, but they do honor the original score in that particular sequence when they first arrive in the center of the park. But other than that, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of original theme music to Jurassic World. However, in the end, right as the credits roll up, you know, they go back to the classic stuff. But overall, the music score to me was just fine. And music, I wasn't even concerned or worried about the music. I'm just glad they threw a little original score in there from the first movie to honor it. It had, oh my God, it was just so good, just so good. Okay, so quick summary. Jurassic World is a park that's been in operation and safe and highly operational for like 10 years or more, possibly. And it's a place where visitors can safely interact with the creatures there in captivity. Even the predators are on display, and everything is 100% safe, guaranteed. Until it's not. Due to a constant demand of new attractions from the public and from corporate sponsorship, Jurassic World is pressured to keep coming up with new creations and new attractions for the park so people will continue to come back and see everything, which leads to why they created this hybrid called the Indominus Rex. The Indominus Rex is basically a hybrid of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and at first, in the beginning of the film, they don't tell us much about what the other parts are made of, but it's definitely part T-Rex, given its size and overall look. And then later on in the movie, after it's escaped and they're hunting it, we come to find out that it is part Velociraptor, because it is giving explicit commands to the so-called Raptor Squad that Chris Pratt's character Owen was trying to control, and I'll touch on that in a few seconds. And we've come to find out that according to Dr. Wu, who returned from the original movie so many years ago, is back as the same actor, same character, and as he discloses to the new park owner, Mr. Mizroni, the hybrid, the Indominus Rex, is made up of T-Rex, Raptor, and Cuttlefish and tree frog DNA. Basically, the reason why it's really bad that it's tree frog and cuttlefish DNA is because the cuttlefish is an extremely aggressive predatory fish who also has the ability to camouflage itself in the ocean when it's hunting for prey. That allows the Indominus Rex to also camouflage itself whenever it wants, so it can be standing right in front of you in the thicket, in the bushes, and you wouldn't know it was there until it was too late, like the ACU. I believe that stands for Asset Containment Unit, or Asset Control Unit. I'm not sure if they mentioned it or not because I was focused on other details, but that's what makes it so dangerous for those guys to go out there and go hunting for it. And you know what kills me about this movie is that when the hybrid breaks out and all of the flyers, the pterodactyls, the pterosaurs, everything breaks out, whenever something breaks out of its cage, their first response is not to kill it, but to drug it, to trank it. Like, even Chris Pratt's character points out, you're using non-lethals on her, and, you know, it's like, okay, you know this thing is clearly dangerous, it's taken human life, but you're not going to kill it, you're just going to try to trank it and capture it again? Are you out of your mind? It's like, have you not learned anything from the first 3 movies? Well, they don't make reference to Jurassic Park, The Lost World, and Jurassic Park 3. This is considered a direct sequel to the first movie, but it's like, oh, they haven't learned a damn thing. They haven't learned a goddamn thing from the first movie. It's like, you cannot control nature. If this movie has any lessons or values or morals to it, it's that man should not meddle with nature, and when he does, they cannot possibly hope to control it because it will always backfire on him. It's like Jurassic World had this great winning streak for so many years while it was in production, while it was in operation. And when somebody gets the idea, hey, let's create a hybrid dinosaur of like a new species that nobody's ever seen before, and that'll attract numbers and guests and make us money. Let's not take into account how dangerous and what a bad idea that might be. But, oh well, you know, I mean, let's be honest, if they had learned their lesson from the first movie, the other movies would never have happened, and especially Jurassic World. So, but, and then what's interesting is that, you know, everybody's been theorizing, like I was theorizing, that Chris Pratt's character was some kind of dangerous animal handler or game warden who was, for some reason, trying to domesticate or at least make the raptors behave themselves around park guests. And that I was originally led to believe that he was trying to, like, basically make the raptors much more docile and not as dangerous around park visitors if they were going to show the raptors off to the public, which I doubt they were, because it turns out in the movie that InGen has an interest in creating living biological weapons. That's what the character, that's what Vince D. Ornifios, I'm sorry if I butcher your last name, but you guys know who I'm talking about, that actor from Full Metal Jacket and Men in Black. He's like the head of security, sort of, but he's like a private defense contractor who's contracted by InGen and is at Jurassic World, and because he's like running the security team there or something. Anyway, so, you know, he has a very big interest in, as well as does InGen, is using dinosaurs as soldiers for the most part. It's like what Hoskins says to Owen, Chris Pratt's character. he says to him about how velociraptors could very well replace men on the battlefield. We won't have to put human lives at risk anymore in open war because we could have the velociraptors do it. And what you've just did there with the velociraptors after Chris Pratt successfully trained them on command of when to follow his lead and when to stop, the Hoskins is convinced that the velociraptors can be controlled and that means that they would obey orders. Where Owen tries to tell him, doesn't quite work like that. You can't really tell nature what to do. You can maybe bring it down a few notches and make it behave itself more, but you can't really tell them what to do. But Hoskins doesn't seem to care much about that. But InGen is definitely looking into using biological weapons, and in this case, living, breathing weapons. Using dinosaurs on the battlefield to defend America's interests, in open war or something. And that's why Owen's character is there in the first place. He was hired by InGen after he got out of the Navy, because apparently that's his military background. He was hired to train and domesticate the raptors, to obey and take commands so that they could prove themselves as worthy soldiers on the front lines in open war. And their raptors aren't technically they're not even a part of Jurassic World. They're not on display. They're not going to be used as a tourist attraction or anything. They're just there for military training purposes. And Owen knows this, but he probably doesn't exactly agree with it because I think he enjoyed his time with the raptors. But overall, you guys, this movie was just outstanding. It was a worthwhile, well-anticipated sequel. I just loved it to death. And the throwbacks and the references to the first movie and just the overall look of it was incredible. And up until the shit hits the fan, this is the park that John Hammond had always dreamed of. It's like this was his vision. Sorry about that. Windows open. Anyway, this was his vision. Jurassic Park come to life. A fully interactive, safe, secured park where humans and dinosaurs can be there and coexist. As long as the dinosaurs are in a cage and they can't actually be allowed to touch anybody. Although the petting zoo was cute. I liked the petting zoo idea. I'm like, of course, baby dinosaurs, especially herbivores, would be adorable. And of course, you could use them as a petting zoo. That's the perfect idea. Because you can't exactly go up to a Triceratops or a Brachiosaurus or a Brontosaurus and be like, nice dinosaur, nice dinosaur. Because they're huge, and with one footstep, you are crushed and dead. But the babies, yeah, bring on the babies. That's cute. That's funny. Let's make a petting zoo out of them. I like that. And then, of course, they have their sea show. It's kind of very reminiscent of SeaWorld almost. They use, I'm going to butcher the name here. It's either a Momosaurus or a Mosasaur. That sounds about right. The big amphibious type predator who lived in the oceans years ago and fed off of both sea and land animals. And they use her as the water attraction for Jurassic World, and that is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. And then, of course, they have the T-Rex, who is the original T-Rex from the very first film. She was obviously recaptured and recontained into her paddock, and she's a huge hit with the guests. Overall, the park looks amazing. It looks like a really fun theme park until the shit hit the fan. Now, one of my tiny problems with this movie was that, okay, I understand you've got to keep the public's interest and you've got to introduce new attractions and new creations and whatnot in order to keep bringing in revenue and guests. And I understand you want to create your own dinosaur. Okay, you want to make it cool and scary, so obviously you go for a predator. That makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is why, for the love of Yoda, would you make it super intelligent? Why would you make it so smart? Because that's what she does. She gives the humans the impression that she's escaped. The hybrid, she gives the impression that she's escaped because there are claw marks on her paddock wall indicating she leapt over the wall and got out. But when they go back in there and they're tracking her through her tracking implant, thermal readings indicate that she was actually inside the paddock the whole time and never got out because she was counting on them coming in to look for her, that would leave the gate open, the door open, and that would be her window of escape, which she very much does. It's like, okay, I get it. You want to create a hybrid, you want to create a new dinosaur to bring in tourists and revenue. But why would you make it super smart? Why would you make it super smart? That doesn't make sense to me. If you made it some kind of made it a mindless eating machine out of it, where it really had no concept of its own existence, that sounds kind of cruel, but like if you just have it as a mindless eating machine where it couldn't possibly pose a threat or a danger to anybody or anything, then I would understand. But to make it super intelligent and a thinking creature, that doesn't work. But then again, as I said earlier, if they hadn't made it super smart, she never would have figured out how to break out of her enclosure, and then we would not have had a movie. Such an awesome, immensely satisfying movie. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. So, I loved all the throwbacks to the original, and I liked Chris Pratt's character and Bryce Dallas Howard's character. She was very funny, and Chris Pratt is always good in whatever he does. And the two kids were pretty bearable, actually. I was a little worried there that they might be kind of annoying, but the two boys were actually okay. They were pretty cool dudes, and they did add quite a bit to the story. So yeah, overall, guys, I give this movie 2 thumbs up and 4 out of 4 stars. Sorry, I almost did 5, but you know what? 5 out of 5 stars. Yes, that's how much I enjoyed it. That's how much I would recommend it. See this movie. It is a perfect, awesome summer blockbuster film, and you are going to love it. You will love it. If you are a fan of Jurassic Park or any other installment of the franchise, even if people who hate on the 2 sequels, and I can see why they would. I personally love The Lost World. I loved it as much as the first one. Not as good, mind you. Keep in mind, I'm not saying that. And the third one had its moments. But guys, Jurassic World is just like the perfect sequel to Jurassic Park. It is incredible, amazing. It will have you clapping and cheering for the characters on the screen, because towards the end of the movie, basically what happens is that everybody is sheltered inside the visitor center. The Raptors, they attempt to use them to hunt down the Indominus, but then they find out that the Indominus Rex is part Raptor, so the Raptor squad actually turns on Owen and the mercenaries that InGen brings in, and they basically take out all the mercenaries, most of them. Owen and his friend, Omar, I think? No, that's the actor's name. Did we get his name even? We must have. Okay, I just didn't catch it. Owen and his friend, the guy who's in the log, and he's like, Blue, don't do it, because he's calling to the raptor by its name. The raptors turn on them and kill everybody except those 2. And then one of the raptors is killed by a rocket launcher, leaving only 3 behind. I believe it's Charlie who gets it. That's the raptor's name. Blue, Charlie, Echo, and Delta. Delta's the only female. And they are siblings. They are all 4 siblings, and they were all hand-raised by Owen, Chris Pratt, because he explains earlier in the film, those raptors trust me like those raptors trust me, and I've spent a long time raising those raptors. I imprinted myself on them when they first hatched, when they were babies, and, they've grown up with me. And he considers himself the alpha, as he tells Gray. But, of course, in that awesome scene when the raptors slowly turn and they look at the humans, he says, they have a new alpha now. That was so great. And at the same time, you're like, oh no, the raptors have turned on them. And see, that should also silence all of the haters who are saying, domesticating velociraptors, controlling them, how stupid is that? That's never gonna work, blah, blah, blah. Hey, you know what, guys? You were right. It didn't work. They tried controlling the raptors, and they thought they could use them as soldiers on the front line, but it doesn't work, because you know why? You can't control nature even if you grow it out of a test tube into a living, breathing creature. It simply doesn't work. However, Blue remains loyal to Gray. Because when the 4 characters, the 2 boys, their Aunt Claire, who was like the asset operations manager or something, she was one of the big bosses at the park. They're in the lab, and they see that Hoskins people are taking all of the research, the data, the scientific work, and all of the embryos because of the evacuation. And Hoskins makes his pitch about creating living biological weapons that the world could use in an open war, and human lives would never be put at risk again. Blue shows up in the nick of time before Hoskins can threaten anybody, and of course messily devours him while our main characters escape, which is awesome. And then there's the moment that everybody had been waiting for. I was personally looking forward to it because in the trailer, when we see the T-Rex for the very first time, I say to myself, there is no way in hell that they are just showing that Rex just so she's going to be in that scene for a few seconds. No way. They are setting us up for an inevitable showdown, a big climactic showdown between the T-Rex and the Indominus Rex. And yes, that theory paid off and was accurate, and they butt heads because as the Velociraptors, who originally they trap and encircle our main characters, and it's Blue and the two other ones, Delta and Echo. And it's like the Raptors are about to close in, and they wait for their new alpha, Indominus Rex, to show up. But it's almost as if Blue has a change of heart or realizes, he's like, you know what? That thing behind me, the Indominus Rex, might be bigger than me, and it may be the boss of me, but this guy, this creature, he has been with me since the beginning, and he's my real alpha, and I can't let one alpha kill the other, so I'm going to team up with my old alpha. So the Raptors then turn on the Indominus Rex and attack her, and it's a futile but honorable effort because obviously the Raptors are overpowered and easily dispatched by Indominus Rex, except Blue. The other two, Delta and Echo, are killed unfortunately, but Blue survives, but also makes his escape. He takes off. And so the humans are kind of left to fend on themselves until Gray says, we need more teeth. And he's like, we need bigger teeth. And that gives Claire the idea, the Rex. And you see it on her look, and then everybody in the theater's like, ooh, the Rex is coming. And sure enough, using the good old flair, she lures the Rex out of her paddock, and then it's a big ass showdown between Rexy and Indominus Rex. And it is awesome. Awesome. And during the fight, unfortunately, Indominus Rex gets the upper hand because it's like, I'm not going to say it's twice the size of the regular Rex, but it's like a size above the regular Rex. And it has the upper hand, and it's actually kicking the Rex's ass, which is really sad because this is our hero, our savior from the first movie. This is the Rex who saved the humans from the Raptors in the first movie. And now she's getting her ass kicked by this ungodly hybrid that's kicking its ass. Fortunately, Blue returns to save the day because it's a great shot. It's like the Indominus Rex has her jaws around the Rex's throat, and then you're thinking, oh no, she's gonna finish off the Rex. She's gonna break her neck and bite into it and just like snap her neck in its mouth or something. But Blue shows up in the nick of time, and it's like he's slowly running in slow motion at first, and then he leaps onto the Indominus Rex, right onto her back, and starts clawing into her and biting her, giving the Rex enough time to get back on its feet, shake itself off, and then take on the Indominus Rex again. And it's beautiful. The Rex and the Raptor work together, taking down the Indominus Rex as the humans watch in amazement. And to top it all off, after the Indominus Rex has its ass handed to it, the Rex and the Raptor both close in on it, and then you don't realize until the last second that the Indominus Rex is on the edge of the enormous pool, which houses the Mosasaur, excuse me. And then good old big Mosasaur pops out of the water, grabs onto the Indominus Rex, and pulls it into the tank to be devoured under the water. And then Rex and Raptor both give each other a little nod saying, thank you. No problem. We just took down a mutual enemy together. There's no reason for us to fight. And then Rexy takes off when Blue gives like one final farewell goodbye look to Owen and the other humans, gives a little chirp, and then he takes off as well. And oh my god, you guys, Well, this is why I like seeing movies on opening weekends, because the crowd's response is perfect. And when everybody realized Claire was letting out the Rex, we all started clapping and cheering. And then Big Rex roared for the first time when we all started clapping and cheering. And then we all silenced because the fight was about to go down, which it immediately did. And then we all cheered and clapped again when Blue made his big comeback and helped the Rex take down the Indominus Rex. And of course, the biggest cheers and applause and screaming came from me, but everybody else as the big mosasaur came out of the water, grabbed onto the Indominus Rex and pulled her underwater, and everybody, especially me, is like, yeah, yeah, and I actually did that in the theater. I'm like, whoa, and so did countless other people. The film that induces such a positive reaction and enthusiasm from the audience as they're watching it is a sign of a fun, exciting, satisfying movie, and that is exactly what Jurassic World is. So guys, after you're done watching this, go see it again, because I am going to do that later in a few hours. I'm going to go back and see it again at a different theater, but it's going to be just as mind-blowing as the first time, because I'll most likely see this movie 3 or 4 more times, because it was epic! Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Please hit subscribe and like this video, share this video, comment, leave your thoughts and opinions down below, and if you liked or didn't like the movie, tell me why in the comment section. Why did you love it? Why did you hate it? What were you looking forward to? Were you disappointed at all? I want to hear from you guys. Please, I want to hear from all of you. Even if you hated the movie and you detested it with every fiber in your being, I want to hear why. Let's just try to be respectful of one another's opinions and be courteous. Also, if you are going to leave positive feedback or negative feedback, bottom line, if you've seen the movie, please keep your comments and thoughts spoiler-free for people who have not seen it yet, because not everybody will see it opening weekend. But just please be courteous and don't spoil anything for anybody. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. I hope you loved the movie as much as I am. I'm about to go watch it now in a few minutes. Oh, it was so good. And thank you guys once again for watching. And until next time, may the Force be with you.